Explore the world of
Professor Ketchup.
Visit
Professor Ketchup.com.
And now, enjoy the show.
Hello? Hello, everyone? Oh. Noise. Class, it's me. Yes, I know it's unusual for me to be calling in from the computer, so thank you all for your patience. Yes, quiet everyone, quiet. I know perhaps this lecture is reading somewhat like a television show, but in fact, you should be treating this lecture with the same amount of formality that you would be treating my lecture as if I was right there in front of you, in person in the class. All right, anyone? Well, so for those of you who aren't familiar, my name is Professor Ketchup. All of you may refer to me as Professor Ketchup. Thank you for coming to class today, everyone. I hope that everyone did their homework. You should be expected to place your homework on the front table at the front of the room, as we always do. Now, be ready, everyone, because today in class, I'm going to be talking about something that is particularly interesting. I'm going to be talking about a few of the things that I wish that I had known before becoming a professor. Well, before we begin, there are a few rules to class that everyone should be familiar with. Number 1, do your homework. Number 2 is no talking during class, especially today. I know that it may be tempting to socialize with your peers, but do not talk in my class. Third and final rule, no leaving class early. No one may leave class early. Do you understand? Excellent. Now that we're all on the same page, I will begin today's lesson. Remember, this is Professor Ketchup's list of thoughts that I had wished that I had had before becoming a professor. Number 1, summers off, not so much. When I considered leaving my journalism career to become a journalism professor, the academic calendar helped make up my mind. 3 months off in summer, a month off at Christmas, spring break, ha! Those breaks all exist, but I usually spend them grading, preparing for the next semester, writing something relevant to say in my field, or teaching even an extra class for more money. It's an all year long job with big chunks where you don't have to go into the office, but you still have to work. Number 2, explaining things is very hard. How do you know what you do at work? Well, you just do. But that's not a helpful thing to tell your students, so I spend a lot of time thinking about the best way to explain something. I find recent examples to better illustrate my points and structure classes so that ideas and skills can build on one another in a meaningful way. Over time, I hone a course to make it a more productive and meaningful experience, often based on feedback I get from students either formally through evaluations or informally, wide-eyed panic or increased office visits. Sorry if you were in that class the first time I taught it. Number 3, you still have anxiety dreams about your classes. As a student, my anxiety dreams involved not being a college graduate because I kept flunking or skipping math class. I still dream about school, but now it's showing up for class with no notes and no lesson plans. Number 4, your students are not you. I was a nerd who loved school and reading and writing and history. Most of my students are not interested in the same things, and they don't think like me. A small fraction of them, maybe 1 a year, are total disasters. They skip class or blow off assignments, or then they claim they didn't know about whatever it is that they screwed up on. The majority of my students are trying to do well, but might just not know how to do school or act professionally. I have to work to think like them because, like a good manager, a good professor tries to find what motivates each student. The goal is for every student to be better at the end of the semester than they were at the beginning. Period. Number 5, you get to follow your interests. In my previous job, I spent 3 years editing a food blog. I thought about restaurants and chefs and food trends every single day. After a while, it got boring. Now I can do whatever I want. My mandate is simply to publish in my field. In my case, that's writing articles like this one, or writing about media for other professionals or academics. I've researched and written about journalism or education, media, technology, books, and even death. And that's just in the last year. I've attended workshops in digital design and multimedia storytelling that help make a better teacher and keep my courses up to date. For a nerd like me, that is heaven. Number 7, getting tenure means you're set for life, but getting it is a grind. Imagine something close to lifetime employment with amazing benefits and no performance evaluations. That's the TLDR version of tenure. Well, the only catch is that the 6 years leading up to it will be the most stressful, drawn-out job interview of your entire life. You have general guidelines to get tenure, get good teaching evaluations, and publish original writing or research, but not exact criteria. You hope you did enough, but you're never really sure because your fate lays in the hands of the tenure committee, which is made up of senior faculty at your school, some of whom may not even love you, and some of whom may have a different professional background than you. Number 8, course evaluations can be harsh. When you filled these out as a student, you probably rated your class and your professor on some sort of scale, then left the hashtag real talk for the open-ended questions. Your professor, I assure you, read every single line, probably with a glass of wine in hand. Some evaluations are helpful and can change an aspect of the class or give me something to work on next semester. Some of them are not helpful. I post a lot of the negative ones to Facebook so my IRL friends can tell me how wrong they are. Over the years, as I improved as a teacher, the comments got more positive. But the negative ones can make me laugh. Question: what words or phrases would you use to describe this teacher? Answer: a bit scary. Number 8, grading takes forever. Sometimes it takes me a few weeks to get some assignments back. Here's why. Right now, I have about 40 students in 3 classes. They all turn assignments in every week. All those assignments require and deserve thoughtful feedback. I don't just randomly write a letter grade on the last page. During the week, I work 6 days a week, and even then I can't stay on top of it. And even though I hate the amount of time it takes me, I spend 25% of my time grading, but it's less than a quarter of what I have to do for my job. I know feedback is the most valuable thing that I can give a student. Number 9, you'll learn a lot about your students' lives outside of the classroom. Students are loud talkers. I hear about bad boyfriends, worse roommates, and last night's drama. They trash talk other teachers in the hallway. They call their moms from whatever zone of privacy they think exists in a bathroom stall. And, because I'm nosy and curious, I look at what they post. Even on social media. Mostly students now do what you and I did in college. Hang out, party, hook up. They just document their bad choices. Number 10, bad things happen to young people. I teach about 100 students a year. In the aggregate, that's 100 lives and 100 problems, 100 relationships, and 100 crises. Injuries, concussions, burns, sprains, viruses, infections, mental illness, anxiety, depression, and even paranoia. Loss, the deaths of parents too. Many grieving children come into my classroom. A former student of mine, Charnice Milton, was murdered this year. Just saying that makes me outraged and anguished all over again. And finally, students, number 11. Students are the best part. Because they're young. Because they're excited. Because they're naive. Because they're hilarious. Because when they are kind to each other, it makes your heart happy. Because they say thank you at the end of the semester, or sometimes even at the end of class. Because they laugh at your jokes or roll their eyes at appropriate times. Because they tell you their secrets. Because they push back. Because they ask good questions. Because they force you to bring it every day. Because they have great ideas. Because they give your life meaning. All right, everyone, thank you very much for coming to class. That will be the end of today's lecture. Please don't forget to place last week's homework on the front table, where I will then pick it up to grade. All right, everyone. I hope that everyone has a very safe and productive weekend. Don't forget to check the Blackboard online forum to see your group project assignments for the final group project of the semester. I will not be accepting any group rearrangements. You will work together as you have been assigned. Next week, we will be meeting in this same location at this same time, or I will be physically present. Once more, thank you so much for your patience today through this computer-mediated lecture. Next week, I look forward to seeing you all here in this classroom. Please remember to close the door on your way out, and everyone have a great weekend. Signing off.